In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the use of the C# enum statement, or rather enumerations. Enumerations are basically types that have a special function in so much that they limit the values that that particular type can contain. So if we create a variable of type user type, as we've defined here, that means that that variable can only have one of these possible values: visitor, guest, supporter, or admin, and the list could go on. Now, basically these values by default represent an integer value, and if we don't specify it, they start with the value of 0, 1, 2, 3. So it always starts with 0. It's 0 based. Why use enumerations or the enum statement at all? Well, basically they're a lot like constants in so much that they allow you to avoid magic numbers. It's a much more elegant way of restricting possible values within your application, and to give the user programmers that use these enumerations some options as they begin to use that value within the app. So for example here, within our static void main, if I use user type dot, and you can see I get possible values that pop up here. And so it's a much better way to do evaluations and just self-document your code as you create it. So in this case, I've got a switch statement. It basically takes in some argument that we're going to pass in to our public void main, like 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then it will, based on that, write out what the value is. So we accept in a value, let's say it's 1. If that were the case, it would come here to guest and then print out guest. So let's go ahead and save this. This is better than just typing in case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4, because again, magic numbers. What does 1 mean? What does 3 mean? It doesn't have any context or any value in that regard. They're just some numbers floating out there that really don't make a lot of sense as you just look at the code. But now I can see, oh, this is a user type, and a user type of visitor or a guest or a supporter. Oh, now that makes all the sense in the world. But a little bit better than constants in so much that they can be grouped together as well. Where a constant might represent one value well, you can use an enumeration to say, well, these are all like a family of values, and you can select any one of these. So let's go ahead and build our application. And then we bring up our command window, and let's type in CS2313, and we have to pass in a value. I'm going to pass in the value of 1 and hit enter, and it says guest. All right, it makes sense that it says guest because since this is 0 based, the first case would be 0, the second case, guest, would be 1, and therefore it prints out guest. Now the other thing that we can do is kind of offset. We don't have to use the default of 0. We can make this 1 based by simply doing this. Or we could change all the values up to 1, 3, 5, and 7 if we wanted to, and explicitly define each one. But I'm just going to do this. I'm going to set visitor equal to 1, and then from there, guest will equal to 2, supporter equal to 3, admin equal to 4, and so on. So let's go ahead and save this project and rebuild it. And then we'll simply run it again, and this time pass in the exact same value. CS2313 will pass in 1, but the value is different this time. It's visitor. And why is it visitor? Because visitor is the first of the case statements. It's the first here, and then this would be 2, 3, and 4 as follows. So I hope that this makes a little sense for you why you'd want to use enumerations within your application. It's kind of a sign of a developer who really understands what he's doing and architects the application in such a way that it's easy for others to maintain over time. So I'd really encourage the use of enumeration, but not the overuse of enumeration. Use it where it makes sense, and use these within your app, and you'll experience a little bit better code readability. Thank you.